Hey YouTube, got a video coming at you today real quick. We are going to go over how to replace the EGR valve in this is a 5.4 liter 2005 e250 Econoline. Reason I'm making this video, there are some videos out there about how to replace the EGR valve. Not one that I found in particular for the, did I say 5.4? I meant 4.6 liter engine. This might apply to the 5.4 as well, maybe even the 6.0. I'm not sure, but I do know it does apply for my engine, obviously. The other EGR valves in the other models that I saw videos on were kind of easy to access. The nut that goes on this tube. See if I can get a good shot of it. That nut right there. Right in the center there. That nut is nearly impossible to get access on. The only thing I was able to get on was this size crescent wrench. I could not get anything bigger on it. So I actually opted to do something completely different, and I do believe it's gonna work out better. I was able to crack this nut on the exhaust manifold itself, and then I think I'm gonna be able to pull the whole EGR valve out once that nut is completely removed, and then I'll be able to remove it from the other end of the tube, and I'll be able to install the new EGR valve. So we will go over all of that. I already cracked this nut. It got PB blasted, I don't know, 6 different times over the course of a few days. I've been kind of monkeying around with this while I was doing some other things. I'm still waiting on some coilovers as well. So yeah, already cracked that nut with this 1 1/16 inch and a 1/16 wrench. It went right on there, and I was able to get enough force to break it loose. So I'll get back to you guys here in a minute whenever I have that off, and we'll go from there. So guys, I got the EGR out, not without problems though. So I still got to pull this line here off. That should be no big deal, but the 2 bolts that held it in, I managed to get one of them out. They're both 10mm. The other one, I managed to snap it. So either you can try an easy out, where you drill into the bolt that's stuck on the engine side at the intake. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try to weld it in there. Grind it off the top of the head so I can grab it with the ground clamp. And I'm gonna try to weld it in there. I don't know if you can see the flange surface. It's right there. The bolt's sticking out there. I covered this with aluminum foil so I don't get slag on the engine in the spark plugs. Also, just in case there is any fuel from the fuel rail, I do not want to ignite it, so I'm trying to cover it as best I can. I could shove a welding blanket in here, but I think this foil will do well enough. I'm also protecting the mating surface with a piece of foil, and I punctured a hole for that bolt to stick through there. So you can kind of see it right there. So I'm going to try to weld it on 2 sides, and then back it out. After it's heated, it should be much easier to get out once I let the weld cool off a bit, so I don't just bust the weld off. Alright, I'll let you guys know how it goes. I can't record with all the hands that I need for this. I honestly need a 3rd hand to hold everything, so yep, I'll show you whenever I get it out. Alright, so guys, I tried welding that bolt, and unfortunately there was not enough meat on the side of the bolt for me to get a good weld. It did weld together, but it snapped right off when I started trying to back it out. My bolt is pretty stuck in here. So unfortunately, we have to go the other route, which is going to be pulling the upper piece here that is connected to the intake manifold. I'm not sure of the name of it, but I do know it's got a ton of vacuum hoses stuffed through it. So you're going to have to pull this hose, this hose, this hose, that hose, This hose is going to come out from the other side. I don't know if it disconnects from here or not. I'm not going to try and yank on it. You're going to have to disconnect that electrical connector on the throttle body, as well as there's another, I think it's a temperature sensor for the intake. That's going to have to get disconnected. All of the front end intake stuff has to be pulled out too. I've already had it out for a few days for another project. Real quickly, while I got you here, these vacuum hose lines, this style clip, you have to push in, press on this, and yank out. This one I kind of mangled a little bit trying to figure it out, so I can't really get this one off, but I did get the other end off, same way, just press on it. It's the same thing for this style clip here. You just press on it, push in, and pull off, and it'll come right out. So that's going to be the majority of these. The other style of clip, I think I had one here. It's one of these clips. You just push on this green tab, pull it over to the other side, and it will release. So that's going to be the two main offenders for weird connectors. The other ones are all going to be just your regular style tension clips, clamps. All right, I'll come back to you when I got this part out. Really quickly, guys, additional to what I said about all the hoses in here, this line is for vacuum pressure to the brake booster. These two lines, not this one apparently, yeah, this is another breather from the valve cover. These two are coolant lines. I guess there is coolant running through the air intake system, or maybe it's just bypassing straight into this hose. Either way around it, whenever you pull at least the top line, I haven't pulled the bottom one yet, you're going to get, I'm assuming coolant. That's what it smelled like. It was kind of clear, which is weird, but might just be old. Might just be they put distilled in here and you know, didn't give it a good mix. This thing did sit for a while. I'm just gonna try to shove a pencil tip into the hole to stop it from making a mess, which it already started doing when I pulled the line off at first. So just be wary. So guys, we're gonna end today with this stuck bolt in here. Tried welding it, tried extracting it, tried everything. I'm going to buy a new part. A new, this would be your throttle body housing, or, I'm sorry, this is the throttle body. This would be the EGR housing, or the EGR valve housing. There's a number here that should identify the part number, although I've been having a hard time finding out what it is exactly. I will let you know when I figure it out. Hey guys, so it is a couple days later. I ran into more problems. My intake manifold had a bolt stripped off for one of the coil packs, and these coil packs that plug into the spark plugs are spring loaded. They don't snap in like normal coil packs would. That's not the point of this video. I will tell you though, while I'm in here, make sure you drain the coolant before you pull the intake manifold. There are a couple channels in here that pass coolant through the engine that you don't want down in your cylinders or in your spark plug holes. If you do end up getting coolant down in there, you want to dry fire the engine like this, and it should push the coolant out of the top. You'll see it come flying out. I had to do it to another vehicle, a Nissan Xterra. The point of this video though is my EGR housing, or upper plenum. I had a bolt stuck in here. I believe it was in that hole. I tried welding it, I tried an easy out, I tried all kinds of things. I could not get the EGR bolt out. I ended up taking this to a local machine shop. I took the throttle body off, and I had them machine the surface down here to give me a good mating surface, as well as remove the bolt. It ended up costing me 70 bucks. It was worth it because this part's 900 bucks. If you can even find it. I don't believe they make it anymore. There's some identifying numbers there, so you can just see what I'm looking at here. There's also some numbers on the bottom here that you can use for reference for trying to get another one, but I did look pretty thoroughly and I could not find anything. So yeah, machine shop was able to do it for me. They got this cleaned up nice and easy. I'll do probably, I guess, one more video of the complete install once I have the intake manifold back on here. It was 4 bolts to get this thing out. I believe they were 8mm or 10. I can't exactly remember right now. Also, you have a coolant line in here and a coolant line in here. I believe I touched base on that. But you do want to make sure you're not getting coolant all over everything. I think I shoved a pencil inside both of these lines to kind of keep them from draining out, but I ended up having to drain it out anyway whenever I pulled the intake manifold. But if you don't have to go that far, you can just shove pencils in it, or caulk tube heads, something like this that's got a harder rubber tip on it than that one. And then the EGR valve for this unit, it actually has the solenoid on the top. And then the gasket comes with it. So yeah, I'll show you guys what it looks like reassembled, and that'll be the end of the video. So guys, there's the EGR and the solenoid reconnected. You had 2 tubes in on the side of it, as well as another one that another tube plugs into the fuel rail here, into the fuel rail pressure sensor. The EGR comes with all new tubing on itself. Any connection that goes from the solenoid to the EGR comes with new tubing. 2 tubes plug in onto the side of the solenoid. And then you have to put your copper line back in, which I've done. After milling the surface down, I only lost probably 1mm of play, and the copper pipe was able to flex that distance. If you can even see all that well. There it is. I believe they're 10mm bolts, if you were wondering. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's back in. I had to do a ton of other work, so I have to do a test start here, get fuel back into the fuel rail because I had to pull it. I had to change a fuel injector, all kinds of other terrible. But yeah, that line down into there, I tightened that down with an 1 1/16 wrench, and the top one I just did an adjustable because that was like the only thing that would fit. But I got everything pretty snug, so it should be good. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope it helped you with your EGR valve. Hopefully you don't go through all the strife that I did, but if you do have to, you know how I fixed it. So thanks for watching, guys.